Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to yet another edition of Who's Who in America and the Community. This segment brings to you individuals who have committed and dedicated their lives to serving Allah. We span from a wide cross-section of individuals, which includes the local, national and international levels. Today in the studio with me, we have Qaari Sajjad Rahman, who was born in Bangladesh and raised in the United States. Welcome to the program, Qaari Sajjad.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure to have you. Qaari Sajjad, incidentally, is a full-time student at Broward College. He is also a full-time weekend Hifz teacher at the program at the Darul Institute, and he happens to have a full-time job. My first question to you, Qaari Sajjad, is how do you manage?
All right. First and foremost, I definitely thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for giving me the opportunity to speak, and ultimately it is the guidance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that is we're able to accomplish mission. But basically I have a set forth a schedule where I have college on the weekdays. I go to college 4 days from Monday to Thursday, and I also work on the weekdays from Monday to Thursday as well. And I on the weekends I teach at the masjid at the Hifz course, and make sure I coordinate everything with the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And it takes a little bit of struggle as to forth. Sometimes you get less sleep at night because of the homework that you have, or because of you got a test coming in next week, and you got to cramp things up. But alhamdulillah, everything works out good at the end of the day, because I guess it's essential that you keep an organized schedule, and I try my best to cram everything under my schedule, and do with time and time management, which I have learned with time. And that's the reason why I think by the mercy of Allah, with His help, and that I have my health and strength as a young man, so I'm able to do that. So I think it is a pleasure, that I'm able to maintain that schedule for right now, and inshallah, hopefully down the years, it'll be a lot more relaxed schedule after things get better, inshallah.
It's amazing that you're able to juggle 3 full-time jobs all at the same time. And for someone your age, and if you don't mind telling our viewers, how old are you?
I'm 21 years of age.
MashaAllah. And you're able to fit all of this into your schedule. And you mentioned organization, and you're absolutely right. Managing time is definitely a skill, and it takes a lot of organization. Now, we know that you are a full-time student at Broward College. What is your major?
Inshallah, I am initiating in going to the nursing field. I initially wanted to go into the criminal justice field, and then I did a little research and I studied a little, but understood that that's probably not my interest. However, I then started thinking of the medical field, which is totally a different area of study than it is in criminal justice. But by the mercy and the guidance of Allah, I chose to go in the nursing field because later on down the years, once I do graduate, I would probably not have to work the whole full week, because even though you might have 12-hour shifts at times, yet I would have, say 4 days for myself, for my dawah and my Quran and my Islam. So that is one of the reasons why I really made my decision to be in the medical field. Whereas I don't want to occupy myself totally and fully in just making money and making things happen for the dunya. But I don't want to lose the spiritual bounty that Allah has blessed me with, and which with His kindness that we as Muslims are blessed with. And I made that decision in a very thoughtful process that nursing is a good field where I can be helpful to other humans and yet make a living. And at the same time find time for myself and my family, and also for the deen of Islam, inshallah.
MashaAllah, I'm amazed that you had the foresight to look into the future in terms of flexibility, because this is something you're trying to do, find a profession that you can still become, and still, in fact, practice being those 3 individuals all rolled into one.
Exactly, and that's what's essential. I was actually very fortunate that by the mercy and the grace of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I came to United States when I was about 10 years, 11 years. And I came into Darul by the grace of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I never in my life did I ever think that I would be able to recite Quran or be into any kind of leadership. It is totally the kindness of Allah that out of many millions and billions of people in this earth, I am one of those servants that He has chose for a little khidmat and a service for His deen. So I totally consider myself very, very bountiful and very, very rewarded by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And well after everything that you want to earn in life, it takes a little struggle. It also takes a little challenge. So just like getting a degree and going to school, it takes time, effort,
hard
and a
work,
challenge.
yes.
Same thing with the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Quran and the time. It took a lot of challenge and a lot of time and sacrifice. But at the end of the day, it's worth it because it puts your life and it puts everything into place through the guidance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
So you learn perspective, and
Yeah.
it's really fascinating. At 21 years of age, you
Yeah.
have the insight to be able to think
Yeah.
so mature. So I'm quite impressed because a lot of our viewers probably know your face. They've seen you as an icon at the Darul Uloom Institute, but they really don't know who Qaari Sajjad is. And this is one of the benefits of this program, letting our community members know who it is, that we have in such delicate positions and who it is. Get to know them on an individual level, not just at the leadership level. So tell us a little bit about you. When you became a Qaari, you became a Qaari in Bangladesh before you came
no,
here.
No, actually, this is
In
the
the
bounty of Allah. I actually never knew how to read Quran even
Before
when I was
you
in
came?
Yeah. I knew how to read Quran, but it was not fluent. It was not perfect. But through the amazing mercy of Allah, I actually started learning how to read Quran at the age of 10. In a proper
in the United States,
in the United States, in a proper manner.
Right.
And by the mercy of Allah, I went to madrasa back home, just to learn Quran, but it wasn't like something realistic, and I got the full gist of it. But after I came here, by the bounty of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I was able to learn Quran, and through the help of many, like Maulana Shafayat and other community leaders, and ultimately Allah's guidance and His mercy, I was able to really learn Quran and make my way through with His help. Yeah.
That's interesting because I was always under the impression that you were a Qaari before you migrated and came here to the United States. So that is amazing, mashallah.
It's quite fascinating to me sometimes as well. Sometimes people, we come here in the United States, of course, looking for a better life and a better future, and make sure we get our dunya, and which is a bounty from Allah, which is necessity for us, and we make everything right. But Allah is so great that He guides His servants towards His mercy and His Quran, and which is really a bounty from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Subhanallah. And at what age did you become a Qaari? And this all happened at Darul Uloom Institute?
Everything I learned at Darul Uloom, and
MashaAllah.
I started at 10 and a half, and I started Quran, and it was at a point where I couldn't read Alif Ba Ta properly. I had a lot of struggles.
So you started at the very basic.
Very basic, and with time, I kept on. I never gave up. I figured
Persistence.
that. I figured that maybe hopefully I will make it one day. That was I at that time I didn't know anyone. I was just I just was there, and my parents sent me there to learn Quran, and I was just there. I didn't really know anyone, but through the guidance of Allah, Maulana Shafayat, Sheikh Shafayat, he came into our life, and I think he was a big bounty in motivating us as students to get really involved and understand the haqiqat and the reality of reading Quran properly, and Brother Matloob, he taught me tajweed. So I went through the actual extensive course of learning the tajweed book properly, and I later on gained the certificate of Qirat as well. So from the authentic source, where you have the Prophet ﷺ and how the Quran was passed from him to the other Sahabas, and I'm one out of those million servants of Allah, who are able to have their name under that list as well. So
So are you a Hafiz as well as a Qaari?
No, I'm not a Hafiz yet, but that is
Okay.
definitely my goal. It is because of the schedule. It is not to say difficult. It's a challenge, to cramp
Right.
in because memorizing Quran, you need a lot of time.
It's regimental.
Yeah,
yes,
time,
yeah.
and you have to be persistent. And when it comes to me, I mean, the time is an issue here because I'm working, I'm going to school, plus I'm teaching. So I can't be teaching at the same time and memorizing at the same time because I give my 100% attention to my students, and I want to make sure that the benefit, whatever little that Allah has blessed me with, I try to give out to them, and I want to make sure that they benefit from it, and it sticks to their life, and it brings in fruitful and goodness for regardless whoever the student is.
MashaAllah, it really is a blessing that you're able to juggle all of this and still be, 3 individuals rolled in one.
Yeah.
MashaAllah, 3 full-time individuals. At this point, we'll be taking a short break. Please stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Welcome to Toyota of Hollywood. No matter what your new car needs are, it's our goal to make every step of your ownership experience as easy as possible. Let our professional trained sales staff help you find the right car at the right price. Discover an easy ownership experience at Toyota of Hollywood today. We're conveniently located at 1841 North 60th Avenue in Hollywood, Florida.
Will you like to have your events broadcasted live? Contact Al-Hikmat Productions, a full-service video production for Islamic functions, weddings, seminars, etc. For more details, contact Al-Hikmat office 1-800-804-0267. That's 1-800-804-0267. Eat healthy, eat halal at Ashraf's Halal Meat Center for all your East and West Indian grocery for genuine halal USDA meat. Stop in or call in your orders at 305-654-0195. That's 305-654-0195.
Are you tired of calling cards? Are you fed up of those long PIN numbers? Then use Sensible, international direct calling for cents only. For more details, contact the Al-Hikmat office at 954-986-0158. That's 954-986-0158.
Estate Caribbean Market, East and West Indian grocery for all your halal meats, fish, and vegetables. Call to place your order at 954-961-6160. That's 954-961-6160.
Are you a student seeking scholarship or financial aid to study Islam? Contact Al-Hikmat Services at 1-800-804-0267 or 954-986-0158. That's 954-986-0158. We also have locations in Jamaica and Trinidad, West Indies.
If you would like to advertise your business on Al-Hikmat TV online 24/7, Al-Hikmat website, and Al-Hikmat Monthly Muslim Magazine, please contact the Al-Hikmat office at 954-986-0158. That's 954-986-0158.
Tune in for Friday Khutbah at 1:30 p.m., broadcasting live from Darul Uloom Institute, Pembroke Pines, Florida, on Al-Hikmat TV online.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back. If you're now joining us, with me in the studio today is Qaari Sajjad Rahman from the Darul Uloom Institute. We left off, he was telling us that he became a Qaari right here in the United States at the Darul Uloom Institute at Pembroke Pines. Qaari Sajjad, what motivated you to become a Qaari? Was it the parental influence or something that you really wanted to do?
This is probably the most strangest thing happened in my life, and I literally grew up in the United States without my mom and dad. There was my mom and dad. They obviously live back home in Bangladesh, and it is totally, I would say, ultimately the guidance and the kindness.
So you
of
came
Allah.
here without them, without your parents?
Yeah. I mean, my mom and dad came with me, but they always come and visit and then go back. They
didn't live in.
They didn't live in
Okay.
here, but we always spoke over the phone and things like that. But just coming to Darul Uloom, ultimately it was the kindness of Allah that that in my heart I had a passion and it took a lot of effort. I used to wake up like early in the morning, like for Fajr Salah, and there were times we don't have ride. So I was like 11 and a half, 12 years old, and I'm like walking down the street
Walking
to go
to Darul.
to Darul. And then my
Mashallah.
mom came once, and then she had like bought me a bike. So I started riding my bike to the masjid. And then there were a lot of brothers, and then they picked me up, and so I used to go to classes in the morning. And that's how I learned my tajweed and everything. And I still till today, I was so young, I didn't understand what it was to do that, because I didn't have the physical understanding of what in the world I'm doing. It was just so natural for me.
You just had the drive to
Yeah,
just go ahead
it was.
and get
I
it.
didn't know what I was doing,
Yeah.
but I felt like that. And now that I contemplate over it, that Allah Subhanahu wa Taala, in His infinite mercy, that I just did it.
Divine
Yeah,
guidance.
I don't know how it
Yeah.
happened, but by the mercy of Allah, now sometimes I think and I recall back how that Allah Subhanahu wa Taala, out of all these people,
Chose
and,
you.
yeah, and then
Yeah.
and it's totally the mercy of Allah Subhanahu wa Taala, and I other than I have no choice but to be grateful to Allah Subhanahu wa Taala for His ultimate kindness, because it is a bounty to be blessed with the ability to read Quran.
It
because
is,
because
mashallah.
Quran is a very blessed book, you know what I mean, and it brings a lot of blessings, not physically, psychologically, and also for your life and your family and your parents as well. So definitely, with effort it came, and I tell all my students, that don't give up, have that sincerity of faith that you're one of those. When I first started learning Quran, it was told to me, make the intention of to learn, teach, and produce teachers. So I tell my students, have the intention of learning Quran, also teaching, and also you're going to produce teachers. So when you die and leave this world, those people who will teach Quran, and you will get the blessing of Sadaqah Jariyah as well. So I think that should be the intentions of all the students, even who are in the Hifz program, inshallah. They should have that student, the intention, inshallah, that they should learn, teach, and also produce teachers, inshallah.
MashaAllah. Now it's really fascinating that you had this guidance, and it reminds me that nothing happens without the permission of Allah. So whatever is to take place, whatever has happened, it is by the permission and the grace of Almighty Allah. So subhanallah, it's really fascinating to hear your story, and actually quite motivating and inspiring as well. What advice would you give to young people, around this age? Because right now our young people are so caught up in the dunya, so caught up in the world of becoming a full-time student, working. They don't put aside that time for Islam. What advice would you give to young people?
Advice, more like my love and my caring for all my brothers. I would say that, understand what Quran is. Quran is a very, very blessed and a book of guidance for all of humanity, and as young, we should use the strength and the ability that Allah has given us, that we should use, because we have the intellect, and the ability, and there are a lot of brilliant people Allah has created in this earth, that they're so brilliant in school, and if they use the same intelligence that Allah has blessed them with, even for the deen, they have the balance, the good of both worlds. You have the knowledge of this dunya, which is also necessary, and the knowledge of the deen, which is a spiritual and a physical guidance for your life as well. So I understand who Allah Subhanahu wa Taala is. I think once people understand and the azmat and the greatness of Allah in their hearts, they will automatically realize that the Quran is there for the guidance and for the mercy and changing the life of humans, not as a dictatorship or anything like that. It is more of a mercy from God Almighty for all of humanity.
MashaAllah, it's really interesting, the young people really need to create a discipline, both in body and mind, so that they can get beyond, not just caught up in this world, but also try to plan and live for the hereafter. Because the famous hadith, you live in this world as though you are traveling, passing through, but you live for the hereafter, because that is going to be the ultimate
destination.
Very good. So I hope our young people are listening to us, because it's really quite an inspiring story. Now, you are a full-time student at Broward College. You have a full-time job, and that brings us to the third part of your profile. You are a full-time weekend school at the Hifz program, the Darul Uloom Institute. Tell us a little bit about this Hifz program. How long ago did this program start?
The Hifz program is totally amazing. I mean, we started this September.
So it's fairly new.
It's very new. Young stages. We just started. And when it comes to Quran, we have big plans, and we're looking forward to expand, and the sky's the limit, for all the students. And it's about 5 months right now, and there are students who have already finished memorizing 2 juz. They have finished the 30th, the 29th. And they're almost, they're started with the 28th already, and they're going on. And a lot of students who came reading literally qaida, ABC, like Alhikmat, and they're into Quran and they're memorizing right now. So it's fascinating to see that how the environment has an effect on these young youths. They're playful. They're
good at their kids.
Exactly, you know what I mean?
You can't take that part out of them.
They're going to be the kids, and they're going to be the young ones, but that's a blessing. You know what I mean? Mere fact that they sacrifice their weekend, and they're coming, and they're putting the effort. That's what's essential. I mean, there are one or two kids who are always going to be, they're fooling around, but the reality of the part is they're putting the effort and really trying to make things happen, and grace be to the parents that they're encouraging their kids. They're leaving their companionship for the weekend, the love of the mothers and the love of the fathers, and letting them spend their time in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's a great bounty for them as young, and it's also a ni'mat and a bounty for the parents who are living, that it is, Allah will give barakat and ni'mat for their life as well.
So both sides win.
Both
Nobody
sides
loses.
win.
Mashallah.
Definitely.
And how did this idea originate? How did it come about to start this Hifz program at Darul Uloom
This idea basically came about when Maulana Sheikh Shafayat, he decided on coming up, and with a lot of thought and a lot of effort, he decided on getting the weekend Hifz course. The purpose is that where you have the young generation and the students who are going to the regular school, and they're getting the full-time benefit, academics,
yes.
and the government is paying for their school, so they're getting the benefit of being educated, smart and intellectual, open-minded people. Yet when they come to the masjid, they're getting the nur and the blessing and the light of Quran as well on the weekends. So when they finish their Hifz course, they have a future in front of them. They already have paths that they could make firm decisions, and they don't have nothing to lose. And it is so intriguing that all the students, all the youths, whether you're involved in sports, involved in academics, whatever it is, they should make the intention to come and join. Yes, we're limited in our space,
right?
Because that's the reality of the essence, that we could only take so many people because of what Allah has blessed us with right now, the facility. But inshallah, with years, with Allah's bounty, things will expand, and we'll also have like Arabic courses for the students. Not only they will memorize Quran, they will understand what they're reading.
Understand the language,
Yeah,
and that's the key, because it's not just memorizing, like a robot, but really to understand the depth of what it is that they're
So our future plan is really for the benefit of these students. Right now they're starting young, and by the time
that's the time to get them at the young age.
Exactly. By the time they finish 5, 6, 7 juz, they could go into learning the meaning of the Quran and learning the Arabic. And so when you read your salah, you will have a totally different perspective of your salah.
It has more meaning.
More meaning to it, because you understand, you're communicating you're understanding what Allah is communicating to you. So it is not now. The Quran is a blessing in itself. Even if you read, the Prophet ﷺ says, even if you read the Quran without understanding,
you still get blessings.
You get blessings. And blessings, you can't really elaborate and describe what blessings are.
And you never have too much blessings. You can never have too much.
So it's always a blessing, mashallah.
And it's good to hear you say that the Hifz program tried to create a balance between the academics and the religious. So I'm glad to see that there is that equilibrium there with the students, that when they come in, they during the week they have their academics, they go to regular school, and on weekends they're dedicated their lives and their time to studying the Quran and memorizing, and also coming up with an understanding of what they're memorizing. So how many students do we have in this program? Do you have a number that you've tapped out at?
Yeah, we do. Our capacity is 40 students.
Okay.
Because we have limited teachers right now. And it is essential that we as teachers, we give our 100% attention for the benefit of all
And the teachers
students.
also stay with their students there on the weekends.
Yeah,
okay, so they've also pulled themselves out of the community.
Definitely.
Good.
And we know we sacrifice our time to do that as well. Now, 40 students, we have 4 teachers. So, we want to give our time and our effort to the students and give them the full benefit of our time. And we have 38 registrations already, so
so you have two more slots
open. But we're gonna basically go through the student who is really motivated and who are not there to waste time. Because
so you're very selective in the people coming in. Are they screened, or do you just accept students?
Do
they go through a screening process?
Well, yes, certainly. We would have to, because you don't want to take a student who is not serious. They're just there to they're just there to play around. Then you're doing injustice to the students who are really sacrificing. Who are really good in their academics, and they're sacrificing their time and their effort. And whereas if you don't be selective and just be like, oh, let anyone come in, then you're doing injustice to the system.
The others, yes.
And the system in general.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because the screening process, I think, will enhance the quality of the program. So you're able to weed out the ones who are not, who are too playful, they're not serious, maybe they're there for the wrong reasons.
Yeah, because the thing is that we also have to understand that the community at large have also put in their contribution and
financially,
financially and even with their prayers, and and we need to understand that we have a duty back to the community. So if we have a duty back to the community, we must be selective in choosing our students to do the right thing.
I mean, that's a great responsibility upon your shoulders that you have towards the community, and once again, towards Allah, that you have to make sure that you live up to the quality and standard that is expected. Now, give us an idea of what these students go through. I think you said they come in on a Friday and they leave on a Sunday. Give us an idea of what their schedule is like from the time they come in to the time they leave on Sunday.
They have a beautiful schedule. If they were to be in a regular Hifz course, from Monday to Friday, they would pretty much get their time for their regular academics, and they also get the Hifz. Whereas on the weekdays, they're going to their regular school. When they come on the weekends, they literally get even more hours of actual Islamic studies and Quranic classes. For instance, when they come in on Fridays, they have classes from 6 o'clock, from Asr Salah, from Maghrib Salah, matter of fact now, Maghrib Salah to Isha Salah. So you have like a 2 hours class over there.
So it's not only Arabic you're teaching them, you're teaching Islamic studies as well?
Of course. We teach them, how to pray Salah. There's different du'as, and how to make wudu. And we teach them about, purification, ghusl, and it's a total Islamic environment.
All-round individual, and not just the Quran and the memorizing.
Exactly, and the benefit when they're living in, they learn discipline. They know how to sit, they know how to respect their elders, their teachers, how to respect to their fellow members and their classmates. They know how to speak to their parents when they go home. So it's a total training, and that's the beauty of the course, that when they stay in, it's a different effect on their mentality and in their personality, because they're getting the whole 24 hours.
The whole package.
Exactly. So hence the reason why it's more beneficial for them.
24 hours a day. They learn to be a Muslim.
Exactly.
24 hours a day. At least they can practice over the weekend.
Exactly.
So when they go back home on Sunday,
they have
the whole week that they keep them going again until they come back again on Friday.
Definitely.
MashaAllah. What has been their reaction? Because I know it's a lot to ask, because you have a lot of young people, and we can get to their ages in a bit. But what has been the reaction from these, and they're all boys, right? From these boys who are given up the outside world and give up their social life? What has been their reaction? Are they resentful at times, or do you think they've been very receptive?
I mean, realistically, if you really ponder, they have not given up the social life, because when they come, they get time to play. They go outside.
So they have sports and recreation as well.
Yeah, they go outside.
So not like they're secluded and they choose one thing all the time.
They really understand what life is.
Yeah.
And from a young age, they're getting the benefit. When they come, and they're very receptive. You would be so amazed to think and ponder sometimes what the students tell you, and you believe or not, we learn from the students. sometimes, we sit in assemblies. Well, not our schedule. After Isha, after they finish their dinner and everything, we sit in a group. And we get feedback from the student. Oh, what's your problem? Do you have any problems with the teachers? Do you have any
so you
complaints?
give them a chance to express their feelings and
we want them to feel at
feedback.
home. Yeah, we want them to feel at home.
Yeah.
And yes, we're disciplined. We need to be disciplined for their benefit, so they could grow up as beautiful young people. And at the same time, we're also very flexible to make them understand that we love them. And that's the main key, is that the young ones, you need to shower love and passion and harmony with them, so they could also demonstrate that when they leave that place. So which is essential, that they understand that, and they're 13 years and above. Some of the kids are younger than 13 because they have excellence in Quran. They know how to read their Quran properly. Their mannerism is very good. They know how to take care of their own selves. So I think they definitely deserve to be in, because they're mature at a younger age.
And that's the age group we're talking about.
Yeah.
13 and above. You need to be 13 or older to be in the program.
That's right. But if you have a student, for say he's 11 years old, but he acts like he's 20. There are students.
So you have exceptions to the rule.
Yeah, definitely.
So again, it goes back to an individual basis.
Yeah, definitely. So hence the reason why the screening process is so beneficial, because you are able to do just to the qualification of the actual student.
Very good, mashallah. It's interesting because I know the kids give up, we wouldn't say give up their weekends now, but they've really dedicated their lives on a weekend to serving Allah. And I'm glad that you mentioned it's not just memorizing Quran that they do from Friday to Sunday, but you have an all-round set of activities planned for them. You take them on field trips. I think you took them on a field trip some time ago.
Yes, we have. We had Al-Hikmat field trip right by Sheridan, and we took them out. They had lunch, barbecue, they played their football and everything. So they understand, but when they grow up, this will remain with them. They could share that with their families and their offsprings to come. So they have bases and firm established bases that they could pass on to their generation, and that's how, inshallah, we hope to keep this ummah together and create bases in this beautiful nation that we live in for the generations to come ahead, inshallah.
So is it too late for an individual to enroll at the Hifz program?
No, definitely not. Definitely, we have a list of students, who really wants to enroll. And the reality of the fact, some of the students that we have, there are one or two who are not serious. And you know what? We would have to speak to their parents, have conference.
So what do you do in case like that? Do you give them, put them on probation?
No, well, probation, we would give them penance.
Oh, okay.
Our principal, Sheikh Shafat, told us to give them penance. You make them right. So say if they don't misbehave, so we make them right 100 times. Just like you get responsibilities in middle school.
Yes.
You get writing assignments.
Yes.
So we give them writing assignments.
Okay.
You write, oh, I will not misbehave.
Is it
100
effective?
Times.
Is it working?
It's effective, because you know what? Kids are going to be kids, because you make them right 100 times, they will do it another 5,000 times. But you know what? It will frustrate them with time, and they will understand that it will stick to them because they're using their hand, they're using their intellect, and when they grow up, they're going to be like, hey, you know what? I did this. Just like you have students, who go to middle school, and when they become doctors and engineers, and they talk to their families and they say, you know what? I did responsibilities in middle school. I did writing assignments.
Right, and
because they stick to you, because you're using your finger, and Allah speaks about using the pen, and the pen has great emphasis on your personality, physically and psychologically as well. So I think it's a good way to.
So it works. So it's not a dictatorship. You sort of create a bond, and you create a brotherhood and love with the students, between the students and the teacher, and that's really fascinating, because I think that's really the key. That's important. If the student knows why they're there, and they know that they have that relationship with the teacher, they try to be very pleasing, especially at that tender age, to try to satisfy and please the teacher, although we do everything for the pleasure of Allah. I know you have the support of the parents, because you have 38 students enrolled, so you have the support from the parents. What about the larger cross-section of the community? How have they reacted to the Hifz program at Darul Uloom Institute?
I really and truly think and actually pray that people, and look into it, and if they could help financially, Allah has blessed them with wealth. It is not if they could help, it is their responsibility. If Allah has blessed them with wealth, they need to contribute to it, because here you have a cause. where you're trying to give back to the community, and these children who are the future and will be, inshallah, with the mercy and the guidance of Allah, the leaders to come in the future for this great nation we're living in, and we're planting the seeds for the generations to come ahead. So their money and their time, and if Allah has not blessed them financially, they should pray, and they should make nafil salah and make dua for these people, who because with dua, you could have great miracles happen. One is the financial effort, and the other one is the spiritual acceptance of God Almighty, which is also essential. So I think we have support of the community. Allah has blessed us with a beautiful community in Darul, and everyone is supportive. But I wish that people from other masajids and other communities would come and help in the cause.
Be a part of the process.
Yes, and even people from this community, wherever they have the work of deen going on, wherever it may be, in this beautiful nation or anywhere in the world, people as Muslims, it is a duty of every single Muslim that Allah has given us this deen as a bounty, and everybody should take the initiative to spend their time, their wealth, and their efforts for the benefit of this deen, and that's how we'll get the good of this world and also the good of the hereafter, inshallah.
So would it be safe to say that we can view this project as an investment? So if you want to talk to the wider cross-section of the community, they can look at this Hifz program as an investment in the future, investment in getting blessings for the akhirah.
Of course, 100%. And the Prophet ﷺ says in a hadith, and the synopsis and the khulasa is that, if you have a righteous children you leave behind, then when the child makes dua for you, you get the blessing of sadaqah jariyah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala keeps the blessing. When you have students that you have taught and you pass down the knowledge of Quran to them, they will. And if you have people who are helping financially, or even they're making dua, even if you could contribute $1, and as long as it's with sincerity, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will multiply that in His infinite mercy. Allah will put in the hearts of millions of others who Allah has blessed, they will match up for the other amount, but one person's sincerity is definitely effective for the blessing of the whole community, because that way, these people, they will get the sadaqah jariyah when they die. All these students, they will read Quran, they will teach to others, and they will be in their blessings. And the Prophet ﷺ says these people will rise on the Day of Judgment and they will say, "Oh Allah, I have never done all this." Then Allah will remind them, and Allah will show them their book of deeds, that everything is clear, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is just in his account. So they have nothing to lose when it comes to Quran.
So other than making a financial contribution, what can other members of the community do to assist with the program?
There are so many things. They could come in, and they do. Matter of fact, they do. Their parents, who've been bringing milk, little gifts for the students, little chocolate, and things like that, or like snacks they bring in, so the kids could enjoy. You want the kids to enjoy, and believe it or not, the kids. I think they get better treatment and food than they get on weekends. So it becomes like a vacation for them, and they love to come, because they're getting so much blessings. Not only reading Quran, but everything they're getting. Everything they're getting, and playing, food, sleep, relaxation. So you kill like 100 birds in one shot. Subhanallah.
So this brings me an interesting question. Is there a fee for these students, or is it the program subsidized by the outside community? Do the parents have to pay?
There's no fee. That is the beauty. You see, we teach the Quran without any fee. However, they pay a fee for their meals that is being served. But that is not a big deal that they're doing. Even if they stay home, they would still pay that.
It's
same
like
meal.
just board. They just come in and they pay towards.
Yeah, they just pay for the food, but they're living for free. They don't pay for the electricity. They don't pay for the water. They don't pay for anything else. They don't pay us for teaching them.
Right.
So they're getting everything for free, and this is the bounty of Quran, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has chosen people. Beautiful, as precious and as important the knowledge of this secular knowledge is, but people are not going to dedicate their time and their soul for free. It doesn't matter, because Allah has not given that value and that azmat to the knowledge of secular knowledge that He has given to deen. That's why people have given their life and their time for the sake, without any charge. So I think the students are really, really blessed, and they should take advantage, and they should also give back to their community when they do become leaders, inshallah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives them the fruit and the genuine blessing in life, inshallah.
And you train these students. I noticed when we come for Salah at the Darul Uloom Institute, the students practice either they recite Quran in front of a crowd.
Yeah.
Do you sort of train them so that they can do public speaking,
course,
they can
of
be able to
course.
communicate or get used to people,
Definitely. We try to break that stage fear. You know what I mean?
Right.
That they have and
at this young age.
At a
so
young
that's
age.
good.
So you know what? When they grow up, they're
Yeah.
going to be social people. You know, regardless, they deal with Muslims, non-Muslims, Jews, Christians, Hindus, you name it. They're going to learn how to love and communicate in a very realistic perspective, because they don't have any fear in them. You know, they're open-minded, loving humanity. That's what this deen is about. That's how this beautiful deen spread. People who are open-minded, loving humanity, and when they come up, they read their Quran, and we prepare them from before. Make sure they
know ahead of time what it is they're going to do.
So they read properly and they present themselves. Make sure they look nice. They also smell nice.
So is there a uniform? You talk about looking nice. Is there a uniform that they wear uniform?
They would they wear white, white top and white bottom with a white hat. So you have a nice. So you have, when they stand up, you have, mashallah.
So you can tell, you can pull the students out of the Hifz program if you come
so you could totally recognize who are there,
Yeah.
and the uniform helps because it creates also the bond, and they understand they become into a family now. They understand they're in a family. And
Right.
and they start to love each other. There's competition between the students because he has passed me, or
Friendly competition,
exactly,
yeah.
so, which is a blessing.
Yeah.
But it's still they're so loving kids.
It
mashallah.
reminds me of the ihram, because when you go to Hajj, regardless of your status, you all wear the same thing.
Definitely.
So that sort of reminds me, no matter what age you are, no matter what family background you have, they all wear the same uniforms. You can't distinguish one from the other more than their recitation of the Quran.
Exactly.
So that's
and
fascinating.
that's really the beauty of this religion and this faith, that it has created one bond of togetherness, of love, and of passion. That's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has chosen, and with His kindness, for this deen, and inshallah to be practiced by, inshallah, most people on the face of this earth, inshallah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And inshallah we pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives and keeps this passion on for all the believers, inshallah, to come, inshallah.
This seems to be a passion for you. You speak so passionately and so committed to the Hifz program. I really admire your commitment and your dedication, and I hope that it will transfer to other young people out there who would come in and assist in no matter what way, whatever way that they can, come in and assist with the program. I mean, if it's to prepare a meal or to donate something to the students and let them know, hey, we appreciate you dedicating your time. We appreciate you giving up your time on the weekend. This is what our reward is for you. So that's really great. I really, really have to tell you that I admire your dedication and your commitment, Qaari Sajjad.
Definitely.
It has been a pleasure having you on the program. And, for more information, were there any last words would you like to say to our community that they would like to, how they can get involved in the Hifz program?
Yeah, certainly. This program is open to the community and international, large. They could call the Al-Hikmat office, or they could call Darul Uloom. The phone numbers will be there.
Right.
And please, if you wanna share greetings, at least a salam, as
That's
at
great.
least,
Encouragement.
At least a salam. Encouragement. It's blessing. It will create the bond and together and
Right.
love. And if Allah has blessed you with with additional support, go ahead, because it will remain with them, and inshallah Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give back to them in much more. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't need us for the sake of His Quran. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He is infinite, and He is able to do with those people who has chosen. But if we involve ourselves and we give, it is a bounty for us, because Allah will give back to us. He's too merciful and too of a greatness for Him to keep things. He doesn't need things from us.
So Allah does not need us. We need Allah.
Definitely.
Thank you once again for being my guest
pleasure.
on the program. For more information regarding the Hifz program, please call the number at the bottom of your screen, 954-963-9514. Thank you, Qaari Sajjad, for being my guest today. It's been a pleasure having you. Please join us again next week for another edition of Who's Who in America and the Community. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.